Ninjago has had a lot of minifigures over the course of time. Of course, it is their main selling point. But when you take a look at all of those minifigures, of course you will naturally develop favorites and least favorites. And when you do have so many varieties when it does come to specific characters, it definitely does become fairly tough. And as someone who does own a vast majority of Ninjago minifigures, I have definitely developed my own personal preferences when it does come to Ninjago minifigures. So what I wanted to do, in similar vein to when I have ranked character designs within the show, I want to do a ranking on characters' minifigures as well. So of course we are going to start off with Lloyd, take a look through all of his variants, which are a lot more than I realized, and take a look at which ones I like more than others. And of course, I would like to know before we get started, what is your favourite and least favourite Lloyd minifigures? Will you agree with the list that I've got? I'm definitely curious to know. But of course, get settled down and get ready for me to talk about over 90 entries when it does come to Lloyd. There's a lot to go through, so let me not waste any more of your time. And let's rank every single minifigure that he's got. And here they all are. Of course there are some very interesting overlaps when it does come to these minifigures and just slight variants of them as well. So I'm gonna take them on just based on which ones they actually are and what suit they actually do represent. For example, you got all of the core variants here, there's not much difference when it does come down to it. But if there are some special variants, I will make sure to cover them accordingly. But obviously to start off, we have got the young version of Lloyd. We've got his original and we have also got his legacy variant. In terms of the original, I would honestly consider it near perfect, whilst the legacy one, I would probably just put as an okay. Now they are extremely similar in nature and I do understand that, but the thing is that the original just really captures the essence of what I expect when it does come to Lloyd. Having the accurate face print as well is also very nice. I just really appreciate how this one looks and how it feels, whereas in comparison with the legacy one, whilst it does have the basis down for it, I do think the slight additions that it gave just never really fit. For example, I just never understood why they gave him gloves. That just really didn't come across all that well to me. And another thing is that they gave him a unique face print, but they also still gave him the green eyes. Considering that they went completely unique, I do think this would have been the perfect opportunity to have given us the new face design but with the black eyes, and I do think that's the thing I can't avoid. So that is why I think they both belong where they are, but I do like them both regardless. Next up we have got Lloyd DX. This is a fairly unique and standalone one, and of course is very much going to be an expensive one at that. I will say, just for reference, I am basing all of these minifigures off of my own personal preference. I'm not taking price into account because some of these will just be a whole lot higher or a whole lot lower than others, just purely down to price. So when it does come to Lloyd DX, I'm just basing it off of how I feel about the minifigure. And again, I'm probably gonna give it a near perfect. No, I'm not. I'm gonna give it good. I just have an attachment to this minifigure. Of course it's not canon and that's fair enough, but I just really appreciate what this one is. Of course, again, I'm not taking price into consideration, but the story on how I got it, I do really think is significant for me. So I have to appreciate this one, and it's definitely a minifigure I frequently go back to. I just love everything about it, and especially considering how much I do like the dragon print, it definitely does give it that extra aspect. The reason I put it in near perfect initially was because it hasn't got the 1990s hoods, but I just don't think that should define it for me, and I actually do kind of like the shoulder pads on it. So yeah, had to be good. Following that, we have got the Lloyd ZX variant and also the legacy variant of it as well. I do think these are some fairly interesting ones, but I will say, I do think his original one is goated. I do think this one belongs up here. But in terms of the legacy ones, I would probably call the legacy adult variant near perfect, and the child variant just simply amazing. It's the ZX variant. I feel like there's not much I can say that hasn't already been said. His initial one is just amazing. I love the gunmetal aspects of it, and I just really like the design of this outfit. I will say I haven't included the one that came in the Lego movie, the one that has his later face print, but that's because there was literally no difference, so I didn't think it was overly worth it. But I will say, the original one just really does bring it home for me. The Legacy variants, I will say, I do think there are some weird choices. The main thing for me is how low the belt is in comparison to the original. It just makes the torso look too long. And I actually do really like the gold. I actually do think it fairly fits. The reason why though the child variant isn't amazing is just simply because I would have rathered the hairpiece over the another mask hood that we did get. That is an extreme nitpick, and I do still think, again, like I said, it's amazing, but it is just one thing that I would have preferred. But that is definitely just me. But all of them are still amazing regardless. That brings us on to the kimono variant of the ninja, and I will say, these are definitely my biggest bias because I love these outfits so much. For example, Gold Lloyd does have to be up there. I really do like what they did with him, but I will say the green one, I actually do kind of prefer. Green, black and gold is by far my favourite colour variation when it does come to Lloyd's. There is not a single outfit where he has these colours where it misses, and I just really like how this one looks. The tidy look of the kimono is amazing, and I just really like the cowl as well. Of course, now we do have new versions of green and gold cowls, but this was the only one for a very long time. But the thing is that I just really like how this one looks. And the gold one, again, what is there to say? It's Golden Lloyd. It's one of the most iconic minifigures for a very particular reason. There is just no issue with these minifigures whatsoever. You can point out that the eyebrows on Golden Lloyd is wrong, but I don't really care because I just like it all that much. So yeah, Goated has to be the place for these guys. Next up, we have got the rebooted variant of Lloyd. We have got his initial one, which is the Techno Robe, and we do have 3 variants of it. We have the fully completed one, which I actually would consider to be goated, even though I do have a problem with it. But the other ones, the one that's missing the shoulder pads, well, near perfect because it doesn't have the shoulder pads. And then we'll go for this really weird one that comes with the Lloyd ZX hoods. It's okay. I really do like the fully completed variant of rebooted Lloyd. The only problem is that it doesn't have leg printing, but I really do think the rest of it is making up for it. I really like the torso design, and the shoulder pads are a fantastic touch that does make this minifigure feel very unique. This was also the first outing of the new Lloyd head print, and also the hair, which I do think deserves the extra points. The variant without the shoulder pads is near perfect, like I said, just because it doesn't have the shoulder pads. It still looks fine, and you could argue he blends in better with the ninja, but the shoulder pads are really what makes his outfit for me. And then that other one, the one that comes with the Lloyd hood instead, that is just a really weird variant that just looks out of place because there's no other gunmetal grey. Of course you could argue it's a good way on getting that hood, but it's just not really worth your time. The only reason it's in okay is because the pieces inherently aren't that bad, it's just when you put it together, I'm just not overly happy with the product. So yeah, that's why all 3 of them belong where they do. Following that, we have got the stone armor variant. We have got 2 variants here. We have gotten the actual standard variant, which again is gonna be goated, I'm very sorry. And then you've got this other version. This came in a book that actually had a buildable mech, and this is just a reuse of a ton of different Lloyd pieces. I'm just gonna have to put it in air, unfortunately. That fully completed variant is just absolutely amazing looking. Again, no leg printing, but it's fine. The torso is just amazing. I love all of the armor printing on it. I like that they used the darker arms still as well. And just the silver just looks absolutely amazing on him. I wouldn't say it's an upgrade over the Techno variant because I really do like that one. But this one definitely does have a special place in my heart. But again, that other one, it's just a reuse of a ton of different Lloyd pieces and also the plain ZX hood. Of course, the stone armor torso is why it's in this section, but it does have the ZX legs, which is just a bit weird. I don't know, it just comes across strange. It's not a bad way on getting your hands on the torso, and you could definitely make a stone armor Lloyd through this one, but it's just not really worth your time in my opinion. Definitely one that you can skip. Next up, we do actually have Tournament Lloyd, and I will say this, in my opinion, this suit hasn't really aged the best. It is still amazing, I'm not gonna lie at all, but the thing is that since the release of this one, we've just simply had better variants. I mean, we have had these ones, and particularly, where is it? I can't see it. These ones, there they are. Yeah, these are just upgrades, you know, so this is still amazing, but yeah. It's the first sleeveless Lloyd, so I will give it the credit that it does deserve, but yeah, it just feels like they just did better with the design later down the line, which is exactly what I want LEGO to actually do. Take these designs and actually improve on them, because that is what they're meant to do. I don't think there's a problem with this one at all, it's just I wouldn't pick it over its later variants. So yeah, still amazing. This now brings us towards the jungle robes. I do think this one is a fairly good one and a fairly unique one at that. I'm going to consider it though near No, it's good. The reason it was nearly in near perfect is because I was gonna say that it could have used something like the skybound armor, the brown variant to be specific, but I do think it just stands on its own 2 feet without any sort of armor. I really do like the design, I like the leather wrap that they do have all around them, I like the elemental symbol on top of the ninja's cowls, I just like what this design does. I think it's very clean, and it's also a very iconic design at that. This is definitely the design most people do remember when it does come to the show. So again, giving it credit where it does deserve. We now have the Deep Stone Armor variant, and I will probably chuck in Possess Lloyd as well because they're technically variants of each other. And I guess also Jitsu, but we'll see. In terms of the actual Deep Stone design, I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say that it was up there. I really do like this one. Possess Lloyd, I would also argue is up there and better than Deep Stone Lloyd because, yeah. And then Jitsu Lloyd, I would probably put it at near perfect. The Deep Stone suits are just quite simply fantastic. There's not a single ninja that doesn't look good in their Deep Stone suits. But I will say this version of Lloyd is fantastic. I do like how this minifigure does look. I like the design and details on it. And there's just really no issue with it whatsoever. I mean, I really like just the black and gleam color scheme as is. I did just say gleam. I can't wait for the comments. In terms of Possess Lloyd, I really do like the color flip. I like how much dark green there is, and the armor is very unique at that. I like just the presence of this minifigure, and also the face print as well. And then lastly, Jitsu Lloyd. I do think this one is fairly solid. I think the way that it would have been goated for me is if it did come with the armor pads, but that is just kind of me. I really do like the general look, but I do think that the legs could have also been a little bit better. So whilst I do think it's a fantastic one, there just are little things that could have been done better for it. This brings us to Skybound. There are 3 variants of the Skybound minifigure, and weirdly none of them are actually fully complete variants, and that is why literally none of them can belong in GOATed. I will say this is the closest we have to a completed version of Lloyd here, just without the shoulder pad. Again, and that is going to be why it's in near perfect. The version that comes with the half mask, I'd say is amazing, but nothing too special. And then the one that just comes with this big armor piece, I just don't know why this is here. I guess I'd put it in okay. I just don't know how I feel about it. I mean, the one that is the closest to being fully complete, need I say more, it is near perfect if it had the shoulder armor. I feel like there's no other way about it. I will say as well, green, black, and also gold. Like I said, it's my favorite color scheme, so it does get points for that. The version with the half mask, I do think is fine enough. It's the one that came in the Day That Departed line, and I do appreciate it for what it is. It's just wildly inaccurate. I just wouldn't really display it. And then, like I said, the one with that big armor piece, I know it's to connect up to that side build from Misfortune's Keep, but the thing is that I just don't understand why this version exists at all. It's just really strange, and I just don't really care for it at all. We're now into the Day That Departed minifigures, and we've got 2 to go through. We've gotten the complete variant of Day That Departed Lloyd, and then we have this really weird variant from the Ninjago magazine. In terms of this variant, I am probably going to have to put it up in GOATed, but then in terms of this one, it's okay, I guess. I love the completed variant, I love all of the pieces that we do get for it, and I just think it's a fantastic looking Lloyd. I like how the colour flows, I like the new armour, it's just not really got any sort of issues for me. The reason why the other one is as low as it is because whilst I can see the argument for it existing, I just don't really care for it. It's missing the pieces that really does make the minifigure unique. No correct armour, and also no hood is just a bit of a shame. The only reason it's not an air is because you could pick this minifigure up and make it into a pilot's Lloyd, but that is quite literally its only use, and the fact that the only thing a minifigure is good for is to make it into another minifigure, I think kind of says it all. But I'm not going to put it in air because it does at least have one utility, so that is why it's there. Next up we have the Hands of Time variant of Lloyd. There are only two, one of them is just quite simply missing the shoulder pads. And I will say, I'm going to have to be brutally honest, the completed variant is appearing goated, which means this one, again, has to be in near perfect. I really do like how the colour flows when it does come to the minifigure. I like the implementations of black, and I like how much the dark green is present on the minifigure as well. I just think this one works. The reason why the other one's in near perfect is, well, no shoulder pads. It literally can't be in goated if it's not a complete minifigure. So I feel like that is fairly fair. I do think there are a few people that actually don't care for this design. I think it was just quite overcomplicated for the time. But I do think later on we've gotten similar vein designs to this one, so I just don't really think it's all that bad. So I do think goated is fit in for the Hands of Time one. Next up, we do have the movie era of minifigures. There are 6 here, and I'm going to go through all of them at once. So, we have got the fully completed variant of Ninja Lloyd. This is the one that has the arm printing on it as well. Yeah, this one is up there for me. I really do like this one. It'd probably go about there. You then have the variant that doesn't have the arm printing. I mean, yeah. You then have the one with arm printing and hair. I actually do kind of like this one. I consider this a complete variant. So I'm probably going to put that one here, just because I do think it's good for what it is. You then have the Kendo variant, which, oh, okay, I guess. You then have the casual variant. You have his actual casual variant, which has, I believe, the back printing, but no arm printing. I don't know. I don't really know where to put this one. Probably about here, I would say. I'm realizing this is too low. This is going up. Anyway, you then also have this one, the hooded variant with also the arm printing. I really like this one. I'm going to put it probably about here, I would say. That makes sense to me. And then you have this one, which is no arm printing, the hoods, but also has the ninja suit peeking through. I think this is another one that's actually goated. There's a lot of ones to go through here, so I'm just going to make this one brief. The fully completed variant, in my opinion, is just kind of iconic. It is the movie variant, and I really do like it for that. And again, pretty nice color scheme, and from afar, I do like the hood. In terms of the one with no arm printing, it just feels nearly complete, so near perfect just felt fitting. The one with the hair, I mean, we see a majority of the movie when Lloyd does look like this, so I do appreciate it for that. And also was one of the ways to get the new Lloyd hair print. So again, I do appreciate this one, and I view it just as complete as the masked variant. And then in terms of the regular casual variants, I do like the non-hooded one. I just wish it had the arm printing. The hooded one I really do like, but there's just the off chance that the minifigure that you'll get of it has grey hair, so I just really couldn't overlook that one. But then I do think the one that has the ninja suit poking through is just a fantastic looking one. Also did fix the hair problem. So yeah, those are the movie variants for me. We now have the Woo Crew training variants. We've got 2 of them. We've got the one that actually has a correct Lloyd, which, it's okay. I just don't really think all that much about this one. I don't know. It's just a strange one. And then this one. Yeah, this one's not good. There's just nothing overly special about the actual version of Lloyd. It's just reusing the same torso and legs that all the other ninja have. So it just kind of exists to me. I just never really think about this one. But the other one is just extremely strange because whilst it does have a different head print, which is nice, it comes with the casual head print. Why does it have pre-movie Cole hair? It's just extremely weird and I can't overlook it. I honestly probably should have made a different tier just for that one alone. So yeah, that's why they are where they are. Following that does come into the Sons of Garmadon variant. We've got the completed version, we have one without the shoulder armor, and then we have one that has the legacy mask. Yeah, this is a weird one. But in terms of the fully completed variant, I mean, what were you going to expect? It has to be up there for me, I love it. The one without the shoulder pads, yeah, I'm probably just going to have to put it like in near perfect, because, you know, in similar vein to all these other ones. Also, I did move young Lloyd up. So it has to be there. And then this one with the legacy hoods. I guess. The fully completed version of Sons of Garmadon Lloyd is just amazing. I love the green, I like how it's a colour flip of the movie design, and the shoulder armour just makes it so much more better for it. I just really like everything it has to offer. The near perfect variant without the shoulder armour, need I say more? That is most of that tier at this point. And then the one with the legacy hood is just a really weird addition. I don't know why it exists. I'm fairly certain it was another magazine edition. So if you need the pieces for Sons of Garmadon Lloyd, then I guess that's an option, but it certainly is a strange one at that. So that's why it's down there for me. Next up is one that I keep forgetting about. It's actually the Spinjitzu variant of Lloyd. I think this one is honestly one of the better ones of the bunch. There are some genuinely terrible ones in this line, but there's still at least some that are better than this one. I think it's just okay for me. It's at least unique. But yeah, it just doesn't really stand out all that much to me. It's one of the few completed ninja lines that I don't have on my main Ninjago display, and I do think that's for good reason. I don't mind it, I actually do like certain aspects of it. The main thing I like is the combination of the top half of the movie mask and the bottom half of the Oni trilogy mask. I think that is just a really nice combination. So it does have its charm, but that's just kind of it for me. But speaking of charm, we go into the Season 9 outfit, again being another really weird instance of multiple, but none of them actually being fully complete. This is the closest to complete that we have, and I guess it's gonna have to be a near perfect. I really do like this design, but I feel like it just can't belong with the other ones because of just what it is. Like, it's just not completed. You then have this one, which has the hair. I actually do think this one is pretty amazing. I wouldn't put it with the rest of them, though. You then have this one, which I found strange, which comes with the movie mask, but without the logo. This is just a really strange addition. I would probably put it in okay, though, because I do think it still has some value, because that's by all account a unique piece. And then finally, we have the Season 9 outfit, also with the Legacy hood, in similar vein to the Season 8 one. So I guess I'll just put it with that one, I guess. It's a shame that we don't have a fully completed variant of the Season 9 minifigure without modification, because I really do like this design. The one that I rate as highest, which is the closest to it, I just really do enjoy. Again, the darker green colours, the mask is fantastic. I really do like what we've got going here. I think they've genuinely accomplished a really cool looking design while also fitting in with the Season 9 aesthetic. The one with the hair, I did actually want to put in near amazing, but the thing is that I just really don't care for it. Also, I meant near perfect, sorry. The thing is that I just like it, but also don't. It's really strange. The one then with that weirdly unique mask, I do think is cool for what it is, but I would just never really acknowledge. And then the one with the legacy hood, I just really don't know why they kept doing this. It's just such a weird time. But speaking of weird times, we've now got the Legacy 1 minifigures. I am going to go through the green ones and then the gold ones because they do feel fairly unique. But in terms of the three green variants, we've got the original Legacy version of Lloyd, which I do think is kind of goated. I do appreciate this design for what it is. Then we've got this version, which I actually didn't know existed until this video. This is actually a version of Lloyd that has, for some reason, the Legacy 2 legs. These ones here. I don't know why this exists. Can someone give me context as to why this exists? I feel like it has to go in okay, though, because it just doesn't suit it at all. And then Kid Lloyd. I don't know. It's amazing. But then in terms of the golden variants, I do think they're all very similar, of course, but just have their own little flair. The original one didn't have a shoulder pad and has the golden face. I do think this is a really cool one, but I also don't think it's near perfect. I do think it's quite up there though, so I'm probably going to put it around about here. But I will say, the reason why I don't think it's perfect is because of the other two. For one, it's this one. This is the shoulder pad variant that actually has the yellow face. And I consider this the definitive version because it is the most accurate to the show. And for that reason, I am going to put it in goated. But then you do have the shoulder pad variant with the golden face, which I will also consider goated. The Legacy 1 design is just really nice in my opinion. I think it's just nice, simple and to the point. Reminding me a lot of the pilot era. And I definitely do think it looks amazing in the show, but that's not what this video is about. But I do like just the general aesthetic that we have got going for it. Even though we've already talked about the Legacy hood, this is the first outing of the Legacy hood, and I definitely do love this one, so it does get extra points. The one that has, like I said, the Legacy 2 legs, it just feels way too weird, and it just doesn't look correct. It just just looks like someone threw two pieces together and that was it. But the Ninjago wiki says it exists, so I stood by it. And then yeah, Kid Lloyd. It's definitely gone up in my eyes because it's technically a canon design because of Dragon's Rising, but again, I would just rather just go for another kid design that just looks more fitting. I would even argue that the new Legacy ZX Kid Lloyd is just better because of it. So yeah, that's where they all belong. This is now where we get into the Season 11 designs, and I will separate the Forbidden Spin Jitsu variants because, well, there's more of that than the actual original variant. The completed version of Lloyd, this minifigure has definitely grown on me. I would definitely consider it in the GOATed category, maybe around about here, I would say. I really do like this design. But then you have this one with the black half mask. It's okay, but I don't really like it. The completed variant is just quite iconic at this point for me. It's the design that we saw for a very long time, and I honestly appreciate the detailing of this minifigure. I like the addition of the brown and the padded feel of it. I really like the minifigure leg design, and I really like the symbol on the mask as well. Of course, that's the reason it's so expensive, but that's not what we're talking about today. But I really do like this one, and I definitely do think it's one that I frequently go back to. But the one with the half mask is just really strange. It was in one of the cheapest sets, so I'm guessing that's why it wasn't with the mask. But I just don't really care for this one because it's just not accurate at all, and just kind of ruins the flow of the minifigure for me. The only reason this one is good is if you already have a mask to put on it, and I fully maintain that. But as for the Forbidden Spin Jitsu variant of the Season 11 outfit, I do think they're a very interesting selection. We've got this one, which is the most accurate representation of it, but doesn't actually come with the shoulder pads. I would probably consider this one just simply amazing though, because it's just not really a minifigure I think that much about. You then have the golden one, which does have some sauce, I'm going to be honest, so I am also going to put that one in amazing. And then you've got this final variant. I may be mistakenly putting this one here instead of putting it with core, but it's fine. I do think this one has at least something going for it. I'll probably put this one in low amazing. All of these minifigures definitely do get bonus points for the masks. I really do like the mask effect that it does have, and all of them having a unique color I definitely do think is a massive bonus. I do like the one that is the most accurate, but it's also the least original of the bunch, but that's by design. I will also say though that the golden variant is just really cool looking, and I do think the additional one that might be core is also just very nice. The utilization of lime green I definitely do think this minifigure stands out for. Also, now I'm looking at the legs, it's definitely core. But yeah, I do think it's just a fun overall look for all of them, and they just definitely do have a place in a Ninjago collection. This brings us into the Legacy 2 designs, and there are a few here, so I'm going to talk about all three of them. For one, you've got the regular sleeveless variant, and I do think this one is very clean looking. Like I said, I prefer it over its original. So I do think this one is probably deserving of a near perfect. I don't think it's goated by any account. You then have this variant, which you may be wondering, well, what's the difference? Well, this is actually one that has Manta on it instead of Master. It was an error that was specific to Lloyd, Cole, and I think maybe Jay, but don't quote me on that one. But I absolutely love this thing. I think it's iconic, and for that reason it's going to be goated. And then you have the 10th anniversary variant. I do think this one's very simple in comparison to all of his other ones, but I do think it does belong up high, probably another near perfect. Next up, we have now got the Prime Empire designs. I'm gonna bunch in Avatar Lloyd with them as well for reference. We've got the completed version of Digi Lloyd, which I do think is pretty cool, but I'd probably still just put it as a near perfect. Probably around about here. Maybe here. I do think it's just fine for what it is. The non-shoulder pad variant just kind of takes away one of the things that makes the outfit what it is. It's okay, I guess. I don't know. And then you've got the Avatar Lloyd, which I know not a lot of people actually care for, but I honestly don't think is all that bad. I would probably actually put it up here in amazing category if I'm going to be perfectly honest. Probably at the bottom though. The Digi designs have definitely grown on me, and I do appreciate Lloyd's one in particular because I really like his fight with Harumi. I do think the designs are fairly interesting, they're just very specific to the season itself. The non-shoulder pad variants, like I said, it's just missing the shoulder pads, it just doesn't look correct without them, so I had to put it down there. And then like I said, having that Avatar one, I do think it is better than more people will say, but I definitely do understand why people do have some complaints about it. But I just think it's a fairly unique looking Lloyd that I do just have some appreciation for. Master of the Mountain comes in with two different minifigure designs. We've gotten the hero version of Lloyd, which I actually do think is really cool, but I'm only going to put it in a near perfect. And then we also do have the Spinjitzu Burst version of Lloyd. This is a completely non-canon minifigure, but that doesn't overly matter, but I do still think regardless, I'm just not really all that big of a fan of this version. The reason the hero design isn't in GOATed for me is just basically down to the fact that it's again a very specific case use and just wouldn't be something I could see in any Ninjago season. Near enough all of the suits that are currently up in GOATed tier, maybe apart from two of them, you could basically have in any sort of Ninjago season, and I do think that is pretty cool. But just the hero one just belongs in its season, and I do think that is fair to say. But I will also say, I do think this one is one of the better ones because it does have different leg printing when most of the ninja don't. But then as for the Spinjitzu Burst one, I don't know, it just feels a little incohesive. The colours just blend too much in with each other, the head print isn't all that good, and then they just randomly go back to the legacy mask for this one. I don't know, it just feels off, so it's down there for me. Now we've got the island designs. These are definitely iconic for a reason. We've got the completed variant and we've got two subsequent versions of it. I will say the completed variant has to be in GOATed. I love this design. I think it's just extremely unique for what it is. I do think it's fairly up there as well. Then the two variants we also have of it, one without the shoulder armor, which I will put in near perfect because it falls into this category. Probably about here, I would say. And then lastly, we've got a version of him that has no accessories whatsoever. It's just the hair, no mask, no nothing. And I think that's okay, but I'm definitely not overly enthusiastic about it. The island designs are just so good looking in minifigure form. The design and the details on them are just absolutely amazing. And the additional head print that we do have for it just definitely does give Lloyd that very unique flair. I just really like how this design looks. I have no notes about it whatsoever. The one that doesn't come with the armor, again just in near perfect in that category of minifigure that's missing shoulder armor. But then the one that has nothing, I could definitely see why some people would like that, but for me, it's just not really it. I just kind of had to go away from it, just understanding that it just wasn't for me, but I understand that some people may like that one. Now we've got the scuba designs. We've got two variants of it again. We have the completed version, and then we have one with actually having the hair print. Now, as for the completed variants, I understand why these are okay, but I've only ever really thought of them as quite low tier minifigures. But I guess the completed one I will put in amazing because I do like it inherently. But then the one that only comes with the hair, I'd probably just put it in okay. I don't like these designs within the show at all, but the minifigures do have that unique feel, and the Lloyd one is pretty good. I like the overarching dark green look to it, and then the underside of it being that lighter green. I do like the scuba mask inherently as well. The armor, for as big as it is, doesn't get in the way of the minifigure, which I do think is pretty good. It is just a very specific case use, again, like some of the other ones, which I don't mind, and it definitely does have a spot in the Ninjago collection, but I just don't think it belongs up top with the rest. So yeah, and then the head variant, again, it feels like in similar vein to the island one, where it's just, I can understand why some people would appreciate this one, but for me, it's just not for me. We then get to the fugitive designs, and fun fact, these are some of my favourite minifigures we've ever got. But one big glaring problem is that each variant has the wrong shoulder armor. How does this happen? Regardless, I do still think this one is going to be a near perfect. And then the one with the half mask, I'm just going to put simply in okay. So, yeah. The one that is completed is in near perfect, just again, simply down to the fact that the armor is the wrong color. I personally have switched out the armor on my own minifigure and it looks absolutely amazing. If that is how it came natively, it would be up there with the kimono designs. But the fact that there is an inaccuracy, I cannot put it above the rest because I would be going against every other thing in this tier list, really. So that's why it's going to be there. But then in terms of the half mask one, I view it in the same lens as the season 11 one with the half mask. It exists. There's probably some sort of case use for it, but it's just not for me personally, so that's why it had to be down there. I just didn't really care for it. But in terms of the actual golden variant of the crystallized design, I mean, both of them again are actually inaccurate. I will say the completed only Lloyd, complete I say an asterisk, is a near perfect like this one, but the one that doesn't have the mask, I'm honestly gonna put, no, I'm gonna put it in okay. I'll put it in okay. The Oni variant is really cool, it just needed 4 arms, so it's just the same thing again like the crystallized one. I just wish it was more accurate, but there's no real way around it unless you buy a custom. But then the one without the Oni mask is just really strange looking. I just don't care for it whatsoever, and I would have put it in air personally, but I did just remember that I did buy this minifigure to modify it, so it does have a specific case use. I did buy one to change out the hands and give it the coal mask to represent the non-Oni variant of crystallized Lloyd. So I'll put it there for that reason, but if we're talking about the minifigure just in its base form, has to be an air. That now brings us though to the core designs. There are 5 of them, so there's a lot to go through here. We have the completed version of Lloyd, which I honestly think is quite goated. I didn't actually initially like the core designs, but they've definitely come around for me. I really do like this minifigure. You then have the one that has the hair instead of the mask, which I would probably put in near perfect, because whilst I do really like it, I definitely do think that I just prefer the masked variant. The one that has the mask, but not the shoulder pads, which I now consider the 15th anniversary variant, I'll put in amazing because it is what it is, I haven't got any problems. And then the one that has absolutely nothing, I'm probably going to put in okay, just because it kind of just exists for me. I don't know, probably about there. But then lastly, you've got the golden core variant of Lloyd, which actually has a unique mask. I really like this one. I'd probably consider this one also in the near perfect category. I'd put it here. The fully completed one, like I said, has just really grown on me. I initially didn't like the core designs, but now I actually quite like this version. I like the blend of all of the green, I like how when you go across it gets lighter, I like the new variant of the legacy hood with the lighter green as well, and the tan legs definitely do accomplish something. I just think this is just a really nice standard Lloyd, and honestly I hope we get to see it more in Dragon's Rising. In terms then of the one with the hair, like I said, I just simply prefer the one with the mask. The one that has the mask but not the armor, again, I just think it's fine for what it is, there's not really a problem with it, but then the one with basically nothing, it's just not really one I would ever consider. But then lastly, like I said, the core version of Lloyd, I do think the golden variant is just really fun looking. Like I said, I like the fact that it gives us the golden legacy mask but with the lighter green, it just looks really cool, and I do think the design is fairly unique. So I do think near perfect is the right spot for it. I think it could have been in goated if it had some armor, but that is just me. Now we've got Samurai Lloyd. I think this is honestly one of the most unique Lloyds we've ever gotten. And honestly, I would consider this Lloyd to be goated. I think this one is just really clean for what it is. I'd probably put it about there. It just is really unique and just a really fun Lloyd to have in a collection. It just stands out as well. It stands out in my collection, I love it. I will say, I did initially not like the fact that we didn't get some sort of crest piece to go on the helmet, but honestly, I don't mind that whatsoever. I still think the minifigure is goated regardless. This is honestly one of my biggest Lloyd recommendations in terms of Lloyd minifigures, because this is just such a fun version that has its own little story, so I do think it deserves that credit. But that does bring us into the Dragon's Rising era of minifigures. So to start out, we've got the Season 1 variants. We've actually got 3. One did come much later down the line, but that's fine. We've got the base version of the Merge Lloyd, which I personally consider to be near perfect. We then have one that's meant to represent some form of dragon power. I do think this one is fairly cool, but I'm still only going to put it in the okay territory. Probably around about here for me. Yeah, that seems about right. And you got this one. This one came out much later down the line, I believe in the Season 3 Part 1 sets. And it has the torso and the legs of Season 1 Lloyd, but then just has some other versions of Lloyd pieces on there as well. Honestly, I consider this one to be an F minifigure. The only thing that holds back the Merge one for me is just the fact there's not much in the way of posability. Because of the nature of the hood, there's just no way to turn the head, and I just don't really care for that. I like the minifigure apart from that, but that is a glaring problem in my opinion when it does come to the minifigure. I will say, there is one that is similar to that later down the line that will be in goated, but that's just because the good of it just outweighs that. But in my opinion, this is just where this Merge one belongs for me. In terms of the one, like I said, that has dragon power, whilst it is unique and I do find it fairly interesting, I just don't really care for it. I don't think of this minifigure. So that's just kind of why it's in okay for me. And then like I said, lastly, the one that's just an amalgamation of reused parts, I just don't care for it whatsoever, so it had to be down there. So yeah, those are the Season 1 ones. Now we've got the Merge variant, which I do think is a really cool looking suit. Honestly, I consider this one to be goated. and I would probably put it around about here for me, because I really do like what this one's going. Also, we've now got a second line, let's go. This design has always just been very clean to me. I really like the new dual molded mask. I think that's really nice. Coming back with the legacy armor as well, I do think is pretty cool. And I just like the gold going throughout the green. And the darker green underlay is just another fantastic addition. Again, another minifigure I go back to very often, and I definitely do appreciate this one. We then have got Climber Lloyd. I do think this is a fairly interesting one because in similar vein to Merge Lloyd, it can't move its neck. But I just really like the detail of this minifigure. So I'm going to go at the bottom of Goated because I do think it does outweigh a few things here. For me, it's just that color palette and that design. It's so complex, it's so nice looking. I love the armor, I like the dark green. I just really do think this minifigure is something fantastic. The climber suits have always been a standout for me, so regardless of the fact I can't turn the head, I had to give it that appreciation. I just like what it has got going for it, and I really do view it as the improvement over the merged version of him. So yeah, this one's getting the appreciation that it deserves in my opinion. Which brings us through to Master Lloyd. We've got two variants. We've got an accurate one with no shoulder armor, and then we have one with shoulder armor that is not actually canon. The non-shoulder armor one, surprisingly, I'm also going to put in Goated. I do think it is fairly up there, probably around this level for me. In terms of the one with shoulder pads, I'm probably going to then put in Near Perfect as a really cool opposite to what we have with all these other ones. Probably would go around about here for me. It's just a really clean looking Lloyd, and I just like the fact that we've got one that has master robes. I think it's a really nice and clean looking design, and I just really appreciate for what it is. The shoulder pad one by all accounts is better, but is actually less accurate, so it just has the opposite problem, and that is why it's going to go in Near Perfect for me. I don't think there's anything wrong with the shoulder pads, and it definitely does add things to it, but I personally always strive for minifigure accuracy, so that is why the non-shoulder pad variant is going to be above it. But of course, during that season, he also did have the tournament outfit, and there are two versions of that one respectively. We've got the accurate version, which I absolutely love. I'm going to be perfectly honest, it is, well, I nearly made a mistake there. It's actually going to be up here for me. I love this one so much, it's probably about there for me. And then we've got one that weirdly has a dark green mask for whatever reason. I don't know why this one exists, but I'll probably just put this one in okay, I guess. Probably towards the bottom. I just love the Tournament of Sources outfits. It takes everything about the sleeveless tournament design of the other two that we've had and just made it so much more better. I love the detail, I love the design, I love the shoulder pad. I just really do think this design works. One of the few instances where the headband hair also works, so I'm giving it that appreciation. I don't know why the dark green mask one exists. The only reason it's not on air is because the dark green mask is difficult to actually get your hands on. It's only ever been on a few different minifigures. I personally only own like 3 of them, whereas I own like over 10 of every other color. So that's the only reason I've given it a little bit of credit, and also the rest of it is really cool, but that's really all I'm going to give it. We're now to the storm suits, and I definitely like the storm suits a lot more than most. I will understand that there are some problems with it. I would consider this though to be near perfect. Probably around about here for me, which I definitely do think is higher than most. But we then do have a variant that he came in which didn't have the shoulder armor, and I'm just going to simply put that one in amazing, just because it's a tier below. I just weirdly like the storm suits. I don't know really what to tell you when it comes down to it. I like the design, I like the complexity of the design, I like the colors that go through it, I like the gold with the green and the dark green, the slight tints of light green as well. I like that they're using the shoulder armor in the rogue colors as well. I do understand that the mask isn't the best, but I do still think it's okay for what it is, and it does match the suit. So I do think there's just generally some good stuff going on for it. And then the non-shoulder pad variant is one below because it's missing the shoulder pad. That is a running theme of this video. I think you understand it by now. But this does then bring us into the final stretch of minifigures. For one, we've got the spectral version of Lloyd. And again, this is another case of a head not being able to move. But I'm going to be perfectly honest when I say this. Yeah, it's up there. It is really up there. I love the design, I love the colors, I love the armor, I love genuinely everything about this minifigure. It looks fantastic, and it's definitely become one of my favorites within recent time. It just has that source, and I'm glad that we got to see it for as long as we did. I will say there is also a prototype variant of this minifigure that we do know of, but I just didn't include it because I just didn't really know what to say about it, because this is just the definitive version in my opinion. I'm sure there's prototypes for all of them that we've never seen. So yeah, whilst that one is not here, please understand why, but I love Spectral Lloyd. But after Spectral Lloyd, then came Draconis Lloyd, and we weirdly do have a few variants of it. We have the actual dragon form variant, which is missing the wings in this image, but that is how it comes, I believe. And I will say, this is again another one that is really up there. Honestly, I'm arguing that it's that high up. We then have the one that is accurate by all accounts because it's the one where he's not actually powered up. This is another one that I consider to be goated, probably just about here. And then lastly, we have this really weird variant which has no shoulder armor but the dragon mask. Yeah, it's okay at best. The only reason I could argue it for is for the mask. These designs are just so good. This may be recency bias, but honestly, who knows? I love just the application of the lighter greens. I like the gold going through it. The shoulder armor's lovely. I just really do appreciate it. And then having the wings as well and the tail is just the extra added effect. The non-powered up variants as well, I also really like. I actually like them to an extent more in the show, but not in minifigure form. And then like I said, lastly, that really weird one that just is missing half the pieces. I just don't care for that one. Don't buy that one, get the correct ones, because these ones are amazing. And then lastly, we have the Mysterious Ronin, the most recent instance of Lloyd as of the time of making this video. This one is a very unique Lloyd, and I'm going to be perfectly honest, we've got another one that is very much up there. Probably about here for me, no, probably about here. This, again, might be recency bias, but I love this minifigure. I love the design, the details, it's everywhere. The arm print in the darker green, the black, it's got everything going for it. Getting then the legacy armor in the brown was also a lovely detail, and that new hood with the hair poking out is absolutely amazing. The only downside for me is honestly just the fact that we didn't get a unique weapon with him, but honestly that is completely fine. This is a fantastic Lloyd, and if you haven't got it, I would highly recommend you do so, because he is just amazing inherently, and I genuinely cannot get enough of it. But with him done, that leads us off with every single Lloyd minifigure for today. So this is the completed tier list for all of the Lloyd minifigures, and I would love to know what you think of my list. Do you agree or do you disagree? I would like to know how similar we are, but there's a very good chance that we have very different lists because of the amount of minifigures we've talked about today. But that is the joy of opinions, and I cannot wait to see what your guys' favourites are as well. But thank you very much for watching the video, and I do hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider subscribing. I love discussing Ninjago with more people, and if you do want to support the channel any further, which you do not have to, you could always become a channel member and join the legends that you do see on screen. Each of your support means the absolute world to me, and I truly cannot thank you enough. But like I said, that is about it for today, and take care. Okay, bye!